Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to Office Hours with Michael Kitces. So we're talking today about sales and business development and the idea or the question of what your career track, what your trajectory looks like as a financial advisor if you're not actually that good at sales and business development and getting clients. And so I'm covering this in response to a great question that came in from someone this past week. This was a question from Kenneth. So Kenneth asked, what happens to those with CFP designations who fail to attract clients? I think it's a great question. So he points out those with the CPA have a lot of doors open if they don't like doing auditing, but a financial planner who can't get clients seems to have more limited options. So Kenneth goes on to say, the reason I'm asking is I'm graduating from college. I'm about to be hired into a position. It has a generous base salary to help the firm manage clients. In addition, they're reimbursing me for costs to get licensed, attain my CFP marks. And then in exchange for my salary, I do work managing their clients. And I also get 50% of all the fees I generate from future clients. And so the question that he asked is, I'm worried that if I can't succeed in bringing in clients over the long term, am I shooting myself in the foot here, either with this job or other opportunities? So I wanted to talk about this because, frankly, my gut response is that this sounds like a really good job position, Kenneth. This sounds like a good job opportunity, and I think really represents the future of the whole profession and where it's going, where you have an opportunity to earn a healthy salary for giving good financial planning service to clients and some upside potential over time if and when you can actually start to bring in some of your own clients as well. And I think it's worth recognizing just how unique, how different this kind of job opportunity actually is from what I'll call the original financial advisor career track. The original financial advisor career track was actually pretty simple. It was a sales job. You came in, you sold products. Depending on what channel you came in, you either sold insurance and annuity products or you sold investment mutual fund style products. But companies hired, they taught you to sell. When you hear anybody talk about the old days when companies trained you, they didn't train you how to be a financial planner. They trained you how to sell and prospect. They gave you structured mechanisms to do sales and prospecting, and you either sold or you didn't sell. If you were good at sales and prospecting, you were a survivor. And then later, maybe you got training in how to become a financial planner and get a CFP. Now, even then, usually you would go get your CFP because it just taught you more about how to ask probing questions and do needs-based selling so that you could sell more products, because it was still a sales job. The origin of financial planning was all about selling products. And frankly, that's still how a lot of organizations do it today. You come in, you go sell products, they put you through their sales training and prospecting, and then if you do a good job at that, maybe at some point in the future, you will have the opportunity to go and get your CFP and actually become a financial planner. And that's not the job offer that you're describing, Kenneth. What you're describing is one where you actually get to be serving clients first, doing financial planning first. They're supporting you getting your CFP out of the gate. And later, maybe you'll be able to do some business development. And that's just a whole change in the financial advisor career track. It's relatively recent. And frankly, I think the source that it comes from is the AUM model, the rise of the AUM model, or more generally, the rise of recurring revenue business models, which start to change the nature of the financial advisor career track. Because now, as a firm that has recurring revenue, where if I serve the clients well, they stick around, they continue to pay our fees, and then we continue to give them more service, and they continue to pay our fees, and that's kind of a good, healthy business model. Firms now have an incentive to hire people like you to come in and just be an awesome financial planner and give those clients great financial planning advice and great service, so they stick around and continue to pay the fees of the firm, who can continue to pay your salary, and the virtuous circle of the business grows. And so in this context, you can have a wonderfully successful career simply by providing great service to clients of the firm. Now, there are some distinctions to this. You ultimately are serving the clients of the firm. They're not your clients, not your clients in any legal sense. You're not building equity in the firm. But that's the nature of the position. If you're going to be an employee that serves clients and not the one who goes and brings in and gets the clients, the nature of your ownership of those clients is going to be different, both legally and just from a compensation perspective. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that's a death knell to your career track or anything. And in fact, I think that's actually a huge opportunity that you can simply earn a good living providing great financial planning service to clients. And if and when you learn to do sales and business development down the road, you have more upside. Your upside is built in your comp from day one, right? You'll participate in the upside growth of the clients you bring in. And believe it or not, there are still a lot of firms out there where if you get hired in as an employee advisor to serve the clients of the firm, they give you little or no bonus if you bring in a couple of your own clients because you're really expected to mostly just serve the firm's clients, or bringing business in is just part of your salary. The fact that this firm gives you, a portion of revenue tied to it, I think is a positive thing, that they're both fairly compensating you for the job and giving you upside potential. And if you do a really good job at that, what you may find eventually is you may be invited to become a partner of that firm in 5 years or 7 years or 10 years or however far it is down the road, because virtually all firms are well incentivized to add partners who do a good job at business development. It's easy to share the pie when the pie is getting bigger because you're helping to grow it. But this whole dynamic where you start learning to be technically competent, learn good relationship skills, and then later you learn business development is a massive shift in the industry. And again, it's relatively recent, but it's been huge. If you look at some of the advisor benchmarking studies over the past couple of years, we've already reached the point where in the RIA community in particular, there are more employee advisors than there are advisors that own and found firms. So that the majority of advisors now in these models are actually in the kinds of positions that you're coming into here. And by and large, they're pretty good positions. And ironically, the challenge now for a lot of those firms is they're struggling to teach their people how to do sales training and business development down the road, because there's actually very little in the industry for teaching experienced financial planners how to do sales and business development. I think you'll see that as a big growth area in the industry in the coming years, just learning how to do that. But again, at the core, starting with serving clients and doing business development later, I think is a better track. Like I think you're finding a good job with this. And I can't help but look at this in the context of my own career. I've been at this long enough. I started 16 years ago. When I came in, financial advising was still a sales job first and foremost. So I was recruited into a sales firm. I was recruited into a life insurance agency. I sucked at it. I failed miserably. I guess actually, to be fair, I was merely mediocre at true sales. I was hopeless at prospecting. The do not call list wasn't in place yet. I did cold calling. I was horrible. I couldn't even follow a cold calling script. It was bad. It took me less than a year to realize that this wasn't going to work at all. And I probably only stuck around in the business out of like sheer stubbornness that I decided I want to stick around. And I was lucky enough to find a job like the one you're getting hired for now, and they were very sparse back then, where I could work in a firm and just do supporting work for existing clients of the firm and be able to get my CFP and be able to start growing my career. And ultimately was able to run quite a bit with that. I did, ironically, an article for Financial Planning Magazine over 10 years ago talking about this as the other side of the planning career track. This idea where I had a job that had no business development requirements and wasn't going to have any business development requirements, and I still provided value to the firm and made a nice living at it. And when we look at the benchmarking studies today, there are employee advisors that are making $125,000 a year, $150,000 a year. If you're at a larger firm that's serving more affluent clients, some of those folks are making $200,000 a year with very little business development. That's a pretty damn good living by any standard here in the U.S. And really, well, and I should say, so it's still actually not as much as what a lot of firm owners make and what people who are really good at business development makes. But this is kind of the distinction that happens in almost any industry, including ours, right? We've all heard that old saying, it's easier to retain a client than it is to get a new one. Well, that translates directly into compensation. You will get paid more to get new clients than you do to retain existing ones. Because of that calculus, it's harder to get them, so you have to pay more to get them. It's easier to retain them, so you get paid a little bit less to retain them. But the financial service industry and the financial advising world is still more than ample that you can make a very good living simply doing the serve the clients part and evolving into the business development later. And I'll, again, even reflect myself, that's been my career track. I spent the first 10 years of my career systematically trying to find jobs that would never require me to do any form of business development. Now, 16 years into my career, business development is one of the primary things that I do. I've got 6 different businesses that I support for business development, our XY Planning Network and New Planner Recruiting and FA Bean Counters and our advisory firm and all these different platforms, because eventually I did find a path of business development that works for me. Ironically, it's doing things like this. It's trying to help our advisory community at large, and knowing that from time to time, a few of you may need some help from some of the businesses that we've developed. So we all find our own path about what's comfortable business development, what kind of sales approach is comfortable, but recognize that that may not come for years down your career track, and that's okay. It doesn't need to. You can have a great opportunity to earn a great living serving clients, and it sounds like that's the opportunity you've got in front of you. And if and when you learn to do business development over time, the firm is ready to reward you. You'll have more upside potential, and that can just open even more doors for you down the road as you build out that skill set. But I wouldn't stress about it now. I would stress if you couldn't find a job that would pay you to serve clients and you could only find sales jobs, that's actually still a huge challenge. One of the reasons we created our New Planner Recruiting business was to help students that just wanted to find financial planning jobs go to financial planning firms, because it was hard to find those matches. It's getting a little easier now, but it's still a challenge. But you found one of those jobs. So I would go for it. I would leap at it. I think you have a great opportunity to serve clients. It sounds like you'll get paid quite reasonably well to do that. Build your skill sets over time, build your technical competency, build your relationship skills. Eventually, and it may be years from now, 5, 7, 10 years from now, start exercising that business development muscle a little. See if you can train yourself to do a little bit more of that as well. If not, you can still have a great career in this industry now, and I think ever more so in the future, by simply giving great financial planning advice and working as an employee. And frankly, the DOL fiduciary rule is just going to further expand those job opportunities more and more as more firms get pushed towards level fee fiduciary, recurring revenue businesses, which are going to create more employee advisor job opportunities. It's exactly what we've seen evolve in the RIA space. It will increasingly happen in the broker-dealer space as well. So simply put, I think you've got a great opportunity, Kenneth. I think you're going down the right path. Frankly, I suspect a number of people on this Periscope listening to this who are actually jealous that you have an opportunity to get paid to do financial planning and a firm that will pay for your licenses and your CFP and the rest, and aren't requiring you to do sales and business development and meet quotas just to earn your salary. You've got a good job opportunity. There's still room for you to improve yourself over the span of your career, including tackling this business development demon over time. And I know it's a challenge for a lot of new advisors coming in, but stay on the road you're going. You've got a nice opportunity, and I hope that helps a little. So thanks, everyone, for joining us today for Office Hours with Michael Kitces, Tuesday, 1 p.m. East Coast time, right here on Periscope, and have a great day. Take care, everyone.